You're listening to The Real Short Box, a comic book podcast made for geeks by geeks.
Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon out there in podcast land. Welcome to the sensational, most righteous podcast here today, The Real Short Box. Let me introduce this four-person panel for this special episode. First, let me introduce Mr. Raphael, a great comic book fan and expert. Hello, Raphael.
How's it going?
Next, let me introduce the president and CEO of The Real Short Box, Mr. The Original Donald. How you doing today, sir?
I'm just peachy keen. I'm ducky. I'm really doing groovy, man.
That's good to hear. Good to feel you have a 60s vibe thing going on today.
Totally.
Very, very well done.
Rad.
Very rad. Now it sounds a little 80s.
Bitchin'.
All right, 70s-ish.
Shit.
All right, sounds more
Groovy.
90s, 21st century. And last but not least, the last member of our panel tonight, or today, whatever you want to say, it is the sensational one. How are you doing today, sir?
Sup?
That's it?
That's what
What's
we get.
up?
That's all you're getting.
That's it?
No, I'm doing good.
He charges by the word, bro.
Yeah, I do. I'm
Well,
like Dickens.
We
By
will,
the word.
we will Venmo you about $30 for every word you say.
You'll
How's that?
Venmo him, sir. I'm paying nothing.
Yes, you will. We promised contractually that when he came on this podcast, we would pay him.
No. It was you pay him $30 and your virginity.
That's disturbing.
Oh.
Again.
That's
I didn't
disturbing.
ask for that,
That's disturbing.
but I do take other forms of payment, including
Crypto. You take crypto, right?
I do take crypto.
Okay.
Well, that's
Excellent.
before he found out it was just a comic with the dog in it.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh.
Superman's pet.
Oh.
this
To quote
stuffed animal.
a member on the panel, trash.
You know, we can give you pesos or other words. Blue Beetle.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, that Blue Beetle. Speaking of trash.
Oh.
Hey, I'll be here all week.
Well, today we're going to discuss a very interesting topic, a very controversial topic within the comic book community. It is, do you like it raw or do you like it slabbed?
We're not
baby,
talking
I
about
like
your
it
meat
raw.
either.
So we're going to give you the pros and cons of slabbed and raw books. And let us start with our wonderful first guest, the sensational one. Let's start with one reason why a book should be kept raw.
Oh, well, in my opinion, one of the best reasons to keep your book raw is to that you have the actually tactile feeling holding your book. You know, when it's in those plastic tombs, as they like to be derisively be called. You can't look at the book. I mean, you can look at it from the front, you can look at it from the back, but you can't look at the inside. So if you have some incredible panel in there, some artwork, or even a letter, let's say, there's old letter hacks.
Like George R.R. Martin having
Fantastic Four, early
Yeah,
issue, one
it
of
was
those issues, Fantastic
exactly.
Four.
Wasn't it the first? It was the first
Molecule Man.
Molecule Man. That's right. First Molecule Man has an article from
letter.
George R.R. Martin in
As
the
a
back, a
teenager.
little letter that he wrote as a teenager.
that's
Yeah,
right.
to Marvel, telling him how he loved Fantastic Four comics. It was super cool.
Or I mean, even not only that, but you can see one of the nice things is seeing ads. So you open up a book and you see an ad for Amazing Fantasy 15.
Or for those sea monkeys.
Yeah, the Sea Monkeys.
Yeah, or the Sea Monkeys.
Yeah, or that, I guess. I mean, that's not as good as Amazing Fantasy 15, but
I think one reason to keep it raw, also, I think in my mind, it's also the ability to take it with you, right? You can take more book, like if you're going to visit a friend, you want to show them your collection. You can carry more raw books than you can carry slabs. You can also, it's easier to transport, to store, not for protection wise, but in terms of limited space. You have a small amount of space, you can store books that are raw versus slab a lot easier. So that's one reason maybe to keep it raw.
Also, nothing feels better than, I think you may have said this earlier, just touching the page, just smelling that old school newsprint of a classic silver, golden, or even bronze age. There's something special about that.
there is, but I mean, not in a perverted way like Kevin was describing. But,
No.
Yeah.
Come on now. Not a perverted way, but there's something special when the tactile feeling of
Now,
these
a
beautiful books.
little sidetrack on that, what he said. Wouldn't it be awesome if one company decided we're going to print comics on newsprint. Like one series.
Yeah, that'd be
You know,
cool.
just to get the nostalgia back of it, right? Let's print this one series on newsprint like the old days, just because it would give it a little more nostalgic feel. Now, I'm not saying every comic should do that way, but it would be cool. I'm certain it's probably a lot more expensive to do it that way nowadays.
Yeah, I was going to say that would probably be the irony that
That's why they charge you more.
with the costs of
Instead of 10 cents, they just add 2 more, zeros.
Digits,
Yeah.
2 more digits.
Yeah.
exactly because like who does newsprint other than newspapers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. It'd be pretty kind of cool. Like, you get a book, like, a new Spider-Man series. And
DC
then
did something similar to that, though, didn't they?
Well, they had the those Wednesday comics you're talking
That's
about,
what it was. Yeah, the Wednesday comics. They were folded, and then you had to unfold it, and then unfold it again, and then unfold it. It was like this huge
But it was meant to
poster
replicate.
size.
It was meant to replicate the comic strip, not a comic book.
True.
So it was like the funny, the
Funny
comic
pages.
page,
Yeah,
the section,
that's right.
excuse me, the comic section from the local paper.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool. I like that.
Now, in terms of raw versus slab, like, there's really no easy answer to that, right? Because every person has
Subjective.
subjective. I'm on the middle of the fence, right? Because as much as I love to find a great raw key or a book that I'm looking for a cool cover in the raw, I do really enjoy seeing a classic cover slabbed, almost like it's in a museum where you can see it in a sense, right? My thing for slabbing is a lot of times it's preservation. I just pressed a book today for my good friend Donald here. It's a Fantastic Four 49, and the book's sort of brittle at this point, right?
Yeah.
And keeping it raw would be cool. You can still keep it raw in the my lighter, but to open that book more and more, you'll start to see the cover start to deteriorate even more. So at this point, the book's almost right for being preserved by getting it slabbed. I'm not saying the slab is going to preserve it for the rest of its life, but it's
Maybe the rest of mine.
right.
It's slowing down the decaying process.
And
Right.
less hands touch it, less chances
No white
of
gloves.
things going right. So for me, I would look at it both ways. I like to have books that are slabbed. A lot of my Silver Age keys are slabbed, but I do really enjoy being able to come to the shop or go to a friend's house or just in general showing some of my collection with a bunch of raws that they can kind of touch. And then I've given many books for Sean to take a look at, and he immediately wants to open the book and look through it. He wants to see
With white gloves, of course.
Yeah, well, he's got clean hands.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I lick them clean after I eat.
No Cheeto dust on my books, bro.
Yeah.
Just Funyun dust.
What do you think, Donald? Like, where do you stand on this?
Well, I'll tell you, you ever look at a comic book and it's so pretty it brings a tear to your eye?
Oh, of course.
Many times.
Yeah. Do you want that tear to drip on a comic that's raw or a slabbed comic?
You want that tear
Well,
to drop on a slab.
technically, you can't look in a book and tear if it's slabbed.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, is it a cover that brought you to tears?
Yes,
Of course,
absolutely.
the cover can bring you to tears.
Most of the time, it'd be like some new Dave Stevens or,
That's a different tier you're doing.
yeah, that's true. Adam Hughes or something like that I would see.
Think about your mind out. In terms of your collection, give me the percentage of slab versus non-slab.
She's 98% unslabbed, 2% slabbed.
It's expensive to get things slabbed, so same thing for me too.
Yeah. Kevin, where do you stand on this one? Like, where do you where are you? Like, are you on the fence? Are you
I'm in the middle.
pro con?
I'm in the middle. I mean, it just depends on the book. So, for example, I have certain,
If
golden-
slabbing was free, would it change your mind?
I would slap a few more books, but not that many books, to be honest.
If it was free, I'd be slapping so much shit.
I'm just saying, is now that's another thing. I didn't think about it. I'm gonna let you finish, but I didn't think about that. Is money really an issue? Like, is money is one of the reasons why you would or wouldn't slap? Like, something is that?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course. There's
I'm
no
with
doubt.
you. I'm with you.
Especially in this day and age. Now, back in the day, about a little over a decade ago, it wasn't so bad getting books slabbed. But now that everyone's on the bandwagon, especially if you want to get the signature series, now it's charged you an arm, a leg, and a foot just to get that done. So you think twice, if not 3 times, before you slap a book.
I do think if someone takes your leg, you're getting the foot too.
Hey, let me
Well,
ask
yes,
you
that's
something.
true.
If
keep the
you
foot.
You have to keep the foot.
if you wanted to buy let's say, Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man number 50, right? Mm-hmm. And right on the
First Kingpin.
right, and you wanted to have CGC witness you sign the book.
You, as in myself.
Yes.
They wouldn't give a fuck.
So would they do it though?
They would, but they would.
As long as you pay them, sure.
Yeah, they would witness.
And would they annotate that if you send it in?
Yeah, they'd probably
sign my
say, idiot owner.
They'd have no idea who I was.
Right.
But they would notate it was signed and witnessed by Raphael Warris, but they have no clue who the fuck it was.
Right.
But will they say signed by and put your name?
Yes.
Probably.
Okay.
The key is they don't give a shit how famous or non-famous you
Just
are.
pay us the
Right.
money.
You're paying them the $20 or whatever the cost is. At a show, it's free to witness you signing the book, like the Donald McKinney.
Well,
So,
I know what we're doing next year at San Diego Comic-Con.
getting Donald McKinney to sign a book.
We're all going to sign a book, and then we're going to get it slabbed.
And I'm sure he'll say, it'll be notated, idiot owner wanted to sign his own name on his book.
I don't think in this situation we're going to be signing some big book. It's
No,
probably gonna be,
no.
You're not that stupid.
I was
honestly.
just throwing that out there just for,
No.
We're going to get a blank cover,
fun.
and then we're going to get Ben Bishop to draw all of us on it.
That'd be cool.
Hey, that's cool too.
Now, another thing to Slab and Raw. This is huge. I think this is one of the one that really gets the most controversy at all time. Is that we go to a con, four of us, right? And we're always when we go to con, we always sit and talk about what we're looking for. I'm looking for this book. I'm looking for that book, and each one of us is looking. And very rarely does one of us say, "If you see it slabbed, let me know," because we're always looking for it raw because we know it's cheaper to buy.
Plus,
It's
you
raw.
want to touch it. You want to open it up yourself.
And you want,
beforehand.
but you
wanna
also
inspect.
you inspect it, but you also believe that you're going to be able to. You're looking for that diamond in the rough. You're looking for that, and I don't want to call dealers not smart, which will lead into the next podcast at some point. What I want to talk about is you're hoping that you're looking through a bin where somebody may have slipped, didn't grade the book as high as it really should be, and you look at wow,
Get
he's got
lucky.
it.
You get lucky.
He has it this, but it's really this, and you know that you can press that book, right? And you get that book graded at a later date for at a different price. So that's another reason to slab versus raw. I very rarely buy slab books at a show because I'm trying to get that deal.
Right, right.
But and every now and again you'll run into a guy selling the slab book at almost cheaper price than buying it raw.
Yeah.
So you're like, screw it, I'm gonna buy the slab.
Happens once in a while.
That's mostly an online thing, I think. I think online, it's a weird phenomenon. I've seen it where, I mean, it's not big books, obviously. We're talking like, medium to small books where, some guy will pay $50 for a 9/8 slab, right, on some dollar book or something. But you can get that same book in near mint for $10.
True, but it costs
That's
you $50
online
to slab it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's another thing too. I've seen a lot of people, and we're going to talk about this in a future podcast, talking about how to grow the hobby. Right. I think slabbing allows me, and I've been doing this a lot in my household lately. I have a granddaughter. She's 3 years old, so she doesn't really know too much yet, but she loves to see my comics because she saw Grandpa's doing it. She wants to know what Grandpa's doing. So I can hand her a slab comic book. Now, of course, she could drop it and crack the slab. Don't get me wrong, but she can't ruin the book.
Right.
But I can hand her a slab copy, and she'll point to, and Grandpa, what's this? I told Batman. Grandpa, what's this? And I can tell her what the characters are. And she recognizes that, and then when she sees the book later, she can tell you it's Batman or whatever. First, I can tell her, look, it's Harley Quinn. So that helps me with being able to us in the future when kids come into the shop for the first time, they're not holding a $200 key raw,
Just squishing
it or folding it or what. You give them a slab, and you're worried about the slab being cracked, but it's an easy repair.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're able to also put them on display. And we get a lot of kids who come in here that are not necessarily comic book guys yet, but see these books and then are intrigued because some of the art, like Ramita and, some of those arts, Ramita's, he'll be gone soon. And some of his covers you don't see very often. You won't see now in new books, but you'll see them. And if they're slabbed, people can actually see it.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a bonus to a book being slabbed.
Yeah.
I mean, like the main benefit of a slab is, especially on older books and on high-end books, is the restoration check. Making sure that the book has not been messed with. Altered.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, outside of that, I think raw is perfectly fine. Now, obviously, personal choices, whatever, right? And obviously, financial investment involved. Slabbing is just a financial investment, one aspect. But the biggest sell for somebody who prefers raw versus slab is the restoration, having peace of mind that this book that I just spent,
Not trimmed.
yeah, it's not trimmed,
Not color
it's
touched.
right?
Not missing any pages.
Right.
But I think Sean brings up a great point. The one thing we haven't touched on is raw books are great when you buy them as a collector. Everyone on this table is a collector, and everyone else at a time can also call ourselves. I guess they call them flippers. I don't call myself a flipper because I don't really buy a book to sell it immediately right now. I do sell books as I get a better grade in a book.
Right.
Yeah, when you upgrade, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm a seller. We all know it's sometimes it's easier to sell a book slabbed because we're guaranteeing a grade, like Kevin said earlier. But the funny part is, in some aspects, some books demand a better or higher value price when they're raw, because there's the hidden value is, can I press it? Can I make it better? Can I
Sure.
clean it?
Yeah.
Can I do this? Can I fix a rusty staple? And then the book's a higher value.
It's like seeing an old CGC case, and CGC's, the company that does the grading and stuff. It's like seeing an old case, where they were really strict. You see that older case, and you're like, oh man,
I got a shot.
No one's cleaned or pressed this. I've got a shot of bumping this up. That's the only time, like with an encased book like that you'll get excited over it, like you would a raw.
Look, I spent a good amount of my childhood investing, which I still do. I just got back into it. Investing in sports cards.
Oh yeah,
Huge sports card guy. And you're not worried about a lot of restoration. You're not worried about pressing and cleaning somewhat, but not really, because people don't do that to cards.
No.
And lately people have been slabbing cards because sport cards get damaged so much easier.
That's right.
Ding, a dent, water.
The corners aren't sharp.
Moisture. So you're trying to see a lot more cards getting preserved, in a sense. Comics are so much harder because you're talking to Donald and you're not paying attention. Boom, tape pull, and that book's fucked. And not really, because if you're a collector, you're gonna love the book regardless. But that having a pristine book in your hand and not paying attention,
ruining it,
with a tape pull, or you're not paying attention as you put the book down and the back cover folds.
Yeah.
Coffee spills.
Mm-hmm. My buddy had a Hulk 340 mint 98, possibility, and he had it on his desk, and he went to go do something in the kitchen. He came back, his daughter was crayoning the cover.
No!
And that, of course you want to be upset, but he couldn't be. That is one of the reasons.
He's down to one child, right? At that point.
At that point.
Yeah.
At that point, but that's why slabbing is a person. Because if it was slabbed, she'd have drew on the slab and you'd have just, Windex it down and moved on.
Right.
So, we could talk about this for years, but Sean, what was your first purchase slab?
Kevin's dabbing his forehead right now. He's sweating.
That story really got to Kevin.
Yeah.
What was your first purchase slab?
I bought I don't know the issue number, but it's the first appearance of Crossbones.
Oh.
I paid like $40. It was a 9.6. Nothing huge, but it was just cheap. I think it's like a 361.
Right? 3 or 4s.
I see Kevin. I see Kevin, thinking about it.
I was going to say 368, but
something like that.
Something like that, probably.
So what was your first purchase slab?
This goes back to 2006, is when I was just starting to get it back in the whole comic book collecting. I had no idea what slab was. I was on eBay, like, Wolverine #1. I was kind of wanted one of these.
We're both in there. It's 360. Captain America 360.
So it was that one, and also X-Men 141.
Days Future Past.
Yeah, CGC'd. Like the Days Future Past. So like, let me grab it. And it was fairly affordable. I think it was like $40 each or something like that. So let me grab these. And they're 9.6. I'm like, all right. Of course, again, I had no idea what I was doing. And then later on, of course, this was the good old days when things were strict with the grading and whatnot. And then later on, one of those books when I had it signed by Chris Claremont and Stan Lee, they bumped it up to a 9.8.
Nice. You're Don, your first one?
My memory's not the best, but I think it was one of two. It's either Conan the Barbarian #1, or Batman 232, which is first Ra's al Ghul.
So, a book I'm actually in the market at the moment for.
I also hooked you up with the last issue of Conan CGC, if you recall,
Yeah.
for your
I
birthday
remember.
years ago.
I still have that too.
It's a beautiful book. The black cover is beautiful.
It says The End.
The End.
My first, not a great book by any means, but my first slab book was a 9/8 Spider-Man 2099. First, not the Amazing Spider-Man first appearance. I'm talking about
The red.
the red fall cover.
Yeah.
that was my first. I'm a huge Spider-Man guy, but that was my first ever CGC 9/8. And I think I paid $32 shipped because it wasn't really a sought after book.
Yeah. I don't know what my first 9/8 would be. Because
That was my first slab. That was my first slab.
None of the ones that I turned in at first were like anywhere near 9/8.
The first first book I ever turned in to get slabbed myself was my personal childhood copy of Secret Wars 8.
Ooh.
And it came back a whopping 4.5.
What? What did you do to that poor book?
Well, I mean, I would read it. I'd read it a lot.
It was
It was in my back pocket. I mean, it was a Spider-Man book, and I was a huge fan of
Spidey.
I don't mind
crayoned into it. You know?
I don't mind Venom. I do like Venom, and I'm a huge Peter Parker fan. But I like the symbiote suit. I liked the symbiote suit prior to becoming Venom. So Secret Wars 8 was one of my favorite books. So it came back at 4.5, and I still have it. It's
It's a
technically
it's a childhood heirloom.
It's technically worthless. Not worth it's probably worth like $30,
But still, it's a childhood heirloom. It's
Well,
special.
It's priceless.
Yeah, it's a piece of your childhood that you have entombed in plastic.
Which reminds me, going back to the Raw side,
Yeah.
I found, I have an Amazing Spider-Man. I have 2 copies of Amazing Spider-Man 316. So I have a signed CG version with Stan Lee and Todd McFarlane's signature on it, but I also have a Raw copy of it. And I think I was telling Donald about this a few weeks ago. It has the sticker of my old comic book shop on it when I bought it. So I looked at it and I said, wow, I can never let this go because it reminds me of my old comic book shop that I grew up with that no longer exists, Wizard Comics in New York. So
Wizard Comics?
Yes, right. These Wizard Comics. That's where the magazine.
Yeah,
yes,
that's
yes, sir.
we'll notch up to the next podcast. We get a chance. Store stamps or not? Do we love them? Do we hate them?
Oh, that's an easy one. Man. We can end that debate right here.
I mean, not new. I don't think about new one, but when you find a 70s ASM with a store date stamp, I don't mind it so much.
No, I don't mind it either. As long as it's like not in some asshole place.
On his fucking face.
Right on the face. I can't stand that shit. Put it on the foot or something, or out in a tree or whatever. I don't give a shit. You can do that. On the face, you're a dick.
To Kevin's point about the store sticker, I like that too. I like keeping those stickers with the price tag on it.
Takes you back, the memory is like, oh man, I remember when I used to go to the store on weekends, and it touches you.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes also just like you see what people price stuff before.
Precisely.
Or just old stores that you remember.
Oh no, I still have. It doesn't even say what the store is, but I knew it was Mitch's, the guy that owned Grackle Flint Comics. I knew it was his pricing because he did it a particular way. He had a sticker, and it was his handwriting, and then he covered it with tape, and it was like it just looked exactly like Mitch's. So I was going through my books just the other day, and I ran across a couple, and I was like, "Aw, this is like from when I was a kid, and I used to go in there all the time." So yeah, it's tough to get rid of stuff like that for sure. It's a sentimentality.
Yep, sentimentality.
How about Sean? Is there a book in your collection currently that you're torn where you think you should slab it for preservation purposes, but at the same time you want to keep it raw because you like to look through it?
Well, I'll say this. I was going to make this point. I think yours kind of bounces off of my idea here. I buy, due to budgetary reasons, low grade to mid grade.
I was gonna say shitty, but we'll
Wow.
Yeah, well.
Wow.
Mr. 3.0 over here,
Ooh.
Keys.
Shots fired.
Keys.
Nothing wrong with 3.0.
Yeah,
Nope.
nothing wrong with it.
Hey,
except when you're making fun of other people about it.
I have a 0.5 FF5, and I don't care if anyone makes fun of me about it because guess what? You more likely don't have any copy.
Right.
Let's not insult our viewers.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Well, I'm saying for the haters out there.
You
for the haters.
sons of bitches.
For the haters. Love the haters. The haters.
But my point being is, I like my sweet spot is well presenting.
We all know.
Well
You present it
presenting,
well.
low grade.
So you're saying fucking front cover is fucking phenomenal. Missing the back cover, who gives a shit?
Well, I need the back cover there,
Oh.
but if you have like sub creases,
It's like him with his underpants.
I actually like the sub creases. if it's from the era where books were mailed out. Those are kind of cool.
Yeah, they were mailing them out up until the 80s.
That's what I'm saying. So I do like the subcreases means where it came from. It tells you, gives you a little more information.
So I have a bunch of books that have like the damage and all that, but it presents really well. They're not worth slabbing because what's the point of slabbing a 4.0 at the moment? So I think it looks better.
A 4.0 Tomb of Dracula is pretty fucking expensive.
It is, but at the same time,
we're talking
about
10?
Tomb 10.
Yeah, Tomb 10.
That's First Blade.
Right.
First Blade. You look at first Silver Age appearance of Mr. Freeze in a 4.0 is over $1,000.
Over $1,000.
So,
but I think the book, because of the way it presents, but also due to the numerical grade, it stays better, or it's better in my opinion. Keeping it in a nice Mylar, where I think the Mylar actually makes the book look better. Than the
case.
The slab.
Well,
case.
what if you put a slab in a Mylar bag?
It still doesn't work.
It looks pretty fucking good. Don't get me wrong. You put a slab in the cheap plastic bag, and you put it in a nice slab Mylite.
Yeah,
that book looks pretty good.
I think for high grades it looks good, but for lower grades, it makes it a little bit murky.
Kind of like you're putting lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
My thing is, so at the moment, not just at my moment, 3.0 to 3.5 or 2.5 to 4.0 is my sweet spot because it's affordable, right? There's a lot of books I'd like to have. ASM1, which I'm working on. A15, maybe not anytime soon.
FF1.
I'm working on X-Men #1 right now.
X-Men #1, yeah.
X-Men #1, I'd take it in a 1.5.
Right.
1.8. So I'd take it in a 1.0. So I think, slabbing a book to me is all prevalence on how you want to keep your collectibles, right? I think if you want to keep your collectibles, are you yawning here, sir? Are you tired?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Your point is just very exhausting.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think if you're a guy who likes, like my buddy, he's a card collector, right? Everything he has is slabbed. Every cards doesn't keep cards that are not slabbed, but that's his thing. He likes to have them so he can thumb through them and not worry. I like kind of the both aspect. I kind of like, it's not easy to afford that way, but I like to have two versions of my book. I'd love to have a first Riddler and a Mylite, and then have it slab. But I think fund wise, not the smartest thing in the world, but it would be nice to be able to have one preserved and one I can thumb through, like in a low grade 1.5 versus 8.0 Bucky book style.
Right. Yeah. I know. I do that. I have like a lot of my books are. I have my nicer copy, and then I have my lower one that I picked up on the cheap that I can flip through.
Well, I know your Shang-Chi.
I know
it's a nicer copy.
It's 10 of them. It's fucking 10 of them.
In 10 readers.
Yeah. I would have had 11 if I had bought the one that you put up.
Jesus, that wasn't a reader. The one he had was fucking beautiful. Okay. But we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
Because I'm still torn why I didn't just snatch off the shelf. I should have just, it was right there.
Yeah.
But to your comment there, I think it's really good that way because what happens in collecting,
best of both worlds.
And when you have 3 copies in your case, a lot of times guys like myself or Donald so on get the advantage of possibly snagging one of those copies, which I've done many times. Like X-Men 266, So
yeah.
But Donald, so close it is. Let us know. What do you think? How do you feel?
How do I feel
today? To slab or not to slab?
Yeah, how's the belly?
For that is the question.
Oh, the belly's fine.
Slab or not?
It's all
slab.
right. Yeah. The chocolate was good.
To slab.
The chocolate was good. So my thought is ultimately, of course, it comes down to the individual and the individual's preference. But what I don't want to see is slab shaming from
raw
people
shaming.
I'm not finished. From people that prefer raws, and I don't want to see raw dogging from those that prefer slabbed.
So you're saying
that's an interesting term you're using.
If you're going to collect one or the other, don't give people shit for what they do. Just do what you want to do, but let them do what they want to do.
You do what makes you happy.
Yeah, don't be a slab shamer or a raw dogger.
Or a grade snobber.
Right, or a great.
Oh, that's
great
true.
snobber.
There's a lot of grade snobbers out there. Oh, you only got a 6.0. Well, I got a 9 too.
I hate when
people do that.
when raw doggers and grade snobbers get together.
Touch each other.
Yeah, it's turns into a whole fuck fest.
People
let
do
me
get
tell
a
you.
little snobby about what you have. You're happy with what you got. Don't be going around, oh, I got something better than that, buddy.
You literally do that to me all the time.
I don't do that.
Yeah,
to
you did. You did that to me.
One time I did it as a joke, and you took it too
Luke
personal.
Cage. It was a Luke Cage.
No, it was the Hulk.
Also,
Look,
it was
the Hulk
more
181.
than one time.
No, it was Hulk
See?
181. I'm sorry, Hulk 181.
Brother, I have a 1.0.
Yeah, it was
By the
more
way,
than one.
are we still talking about comic books here, or are we talking about some personal
Comics.
Comics. Yeah.
Here's what I think. If you prefer your books raw, don't get pressured into getting them graded just because everyone thinks you have to get them graded. I give Sean a hard time all the time about his books being raw, but I really don't give a shit what he does. They're his books. He should be able to do what he wants. And if you're a guy who likes slabs, don't let people talk you out of slabbing if they tell you it's too expensive. If you can afford it and you want to do it, I say go for it.
With joy.
Yeah.
Slab with joy.
You know, everybody has their vices. So it's like, you know, I see you, maybe not you, but an example, like somebody just eating a peanut butter sandwich. And you're like, Jesus, you eat a peanut butter sandwich every day. And they're like, well, I got to save money. What the hell are you saving money? You know, like, this guy must be poor as shit. Well, maybe he's slabbing like $10 a month or something.
Are you talking
Maybe
about
7 per house.
Are you talking about Nutella or what do you call it? What's the shit you eat all the
Jiffy?
time?
Jiffy
Oh,
peanut
No,
butter?
he doesn't do peanut butter. He does.
You're talking about the dark chocolate almond butter with the dark raspberry jam. That was delightful. I had those sandwiches made for Comic-Con. But you know what? It was still super cheap.
And it was
I had
delicious.
For a lunch, so I
was
didn't
delicious.
have to spend
a
extra money.
$10 fucking sandwich and a $2 T-shirt. This motherfucker.
Look, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. And on that note, I think I want to thank you all for being here. I appreciate your time, and I want the audience to let us know what they think.
Raw or slab?
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Would you prefer raw comics, slab comics? Doesn't matter. Let us know. I want to thank our sponsors, Splattered Frog Brewing and Half's Hot Sauce. Go to their sites, type in the coupon code for Half's. It's Donald Hiccups, 10% off. And for Splattered Frog, it is Short Box, and you get 20% off. So check those guys out. Great products from them. Also, you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on iHeartRadio. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, all over. Usually on Mondays, we do a live YouTube show. Our podcast usually airs every Thursday or Friday, weather permitting. So with that, thank you for tuning in. My name is Donald.
My name is Kevin.
Showtime out.
Sensational one. In.
And if we don't see you out and about anytime soon, perhaps we'll see you
At the rawest and sometimes encapsulating comic book shop.
This has been The Real Short Box. We'll see you at the comic shop. Thanks for listening.